Okay, let's dig into this. We've got some material here on release on demand. It's part of the scaled agile framework, right? And that catchphrase, develop on cadence, release on demand.
That's the one. Yeah, so this deep dive, we're really trying to unpack what that actually means, according to these safe sources anyway, and how it's supposed to work in practice.
Right. And the material sets it up as the final piece of their continuous delivery pipeline.
Exactly. It follows continuous exploration, integration, and deployment. And
Yeah.
the core idea, really, the whole point emphasized in the source is getting value to customers when they need it, not just when IT is ready.
Which feels like a shift, doesn't it? It's very customer focused. The source says release decisions, what goes out when, who gets it. That's down to product management and the business owners, guided by, actual needs, market stuff, roadmaps.
Absolutely. And the key enabler for all this, the real technical underpinning mentioned, is decoupling deployment from release.
Ah, okay. So break that down. Deployment versus release.
Yeah. So think of deployment as just the technical act,
Yeah.
getting the code onto the production service. It's there. It's live.
Technically. But maybe not visible yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Release is the separate, often later business decision to actually make that new feature or functionality available to the end users. Separating them gives you flexibility. Deploy when ready, release when right for the business.
Okay, that makes sense. So the code's deployed. How does this release on demand part actually happen? The source mentioned 4 activities, like a cycle.
Yeah, that's a loop. First, obviously, is the release itself.
Yeah.
Flipping the switch, making the new stuff usable.
Simple enough. Step 1, release. What's next?
Then you immediately go into stabilize and operate. This is crucial. Once real users are hitting it, you've got to ensure it's working smoothly, reliably. The sources point to things like SRE, security monitoring, making sure the operational architecture is sound, and keeping an eye on those non-functional requirements.
NFR is right, performance, stability, all that.
Precisely. Is it holding up? Is it secure? That kind of thing.
Okay, so it's out, it's stable. Then what?
Then you measure. You need to see if it's actually delivering the value you thought it would. The sources talk about collecting telemetry usage data, performance metrics, error logs, that sort of thing.
So hard data.
Right. And using that to check your initial hypotheses. There's mention of innovation accounting too, which is basically a way to quantify if the feature is meeting its business goals and, inform future investment.
Measuring the impact. Got it. And the last part of the loop.
Learn. You take all that measurement data, combine it with user feedback, maybe analytics, and you evaluate. Did this thing work? Especially if it was like an MVP or a minimum marketable feature.
Something designed for learning.
Exactly. And based on that learning, you decide, keep going, stop,
Yeah.
or pivot, maybe change direction based on what you learn.
Mhm.
And crucially, that learning feeds right back into continuous exploration for the next cycle.
Okay, that stabilize, operate, measure, learn loop sounds powerful. The source also mentions some specific techniques that enable that decoupling we talked about, like dark launches.
Yeah, dark launches are a key one. You deploy the code to production, it's running, but no users see it. It's invisible, dark, lets you test in the real environment.
Okay. And feature toggles.
Right? Feature toggles or flags, those like switches in the code. You can turn features on or off for specific users or segments without doing another deployment. The code's already there, you just control its visibility.
Super flexible.
Very. And there are others mentioned too, like canary releases, releasing to just a small group first, and decoupled release elements, keeping things independent. They all support that core idea of flexible, controlled release.
And this flexibility means the timing isn't fixed either, right? The source says it could be every couple of weeks, monthly, quarterly.
Or even truly on demand, like a critical security patch needs to go out now. The release timing is driven by the business value and the need, not just some arbitrary calendar slot.
Makes sense. But it's not chaos, is it? There's governance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The sources mention release governance. It's about having a plan, usually tied into the broader PI planning, communicating status, making sure quality and compliance checks are done, and getting the necessary authorizations before you actually flip that switch. It's structured freedom, you could say.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. Release on demand, based on this material, is really about getting value to users strategically when it makes the most sense for them and the business.
Right. And it hinges on separating deployment from release.
Driven by that continuous cycle of stabilize, operate, measure, learn.
And enabled by techniques like feature toggles and dark launches, all within a structured governance framework. The goal is responsiveness, getting benefits out quickly.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about, drawing from this. If you can truly separate the release of a feature from its technical deployment, how does that fundamentally change your ability as a business to experiment, to try out new things, and get that rapid real world feedback we just talked about in the measure and learn step? What does that unlock?